Hi, my name is Ray Naylor, and this is the Performing Songwriter. My guest today is John Galla. John is a performing songwriter from Delaware County. He plays solo as well as with his band. Popular songwriters possess one or more of the following traits: excellent original songs, command of their instrument, or strong vocal style. John Galla possesses all three. I'll be back shortly to talk to John, and later on we will hear a number of his songs. John, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
I want to ask you first, in terms of your history, how did you get into music?
Well, a number of different ways. I think always had an affinity for music as far as listening to it on the radio. And my grandfather, we had a player piano.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to play Christmas Carol rolls because I knew those songs. And
right.
We would sing along to them all the time. And yeah, so that got me into singing. And, of course, the thing that really sticks out to me as far as, getting into wanting to play an instrument was when I was a kid. Remember the TV channel Prism in Philadelphia?
I remember that.
It was a cable station. You used to get the Phillies games on it. And they had this Beatles month where they had Beatles movies on. Mm-hmm. And I was aware of the Beatles. I didn't really know the Beatles. And I was maybe about 9 years old. Uh-huh. And I remember coming downstairs on Saturday morning to watch cartoons, but my parents had left it on Prism. Yeah. And when I turned on the TV, it was that moment in Help. Okay. When the guys walk in and they start playing You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. And literally, they walk in the room, they sit down in this little gully area of the room, mm-hmm. and they just pick out their acoustic guitars and start playing it. And I just remember thinking, God, what is this? And then, my dad got a CD player, right. which was so revolutionary because, I had only had tapes and records. And he started to get the Time Life collection of, oldies.
Every month?
Yeah, every month he would get those. And so we just started listening to oldies music, and I started hearing like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and Buddy Holly, and all those people. And then he got the Motown collection, and I started listening to all that. And I just remember that all kind of feeding into me, I guess, finding music that I know now versus just having it on in the background in the car when mm-hmm. somebody had the radio on. And of course, early MTV was a huge influence too, because we had cable, and I just remember watching video after video as a kid. So that's probably all.
When did you start songwriting?
Gosh, 4th grade, I think.
Really?
Might have been even younger.
Wow.
So I was about 9 when my family moved to Pennsylvania, and I think, I used to write poems and things then, mm-hmm. but I only remember writing like kind of one melody line to a tune. But when we moved, I remember it was right around that period, like 3rd, 4th grade, where I started writing songs. And a lot of them were me in the vein of I would rewrite lyrics, almost Weird Al style, to songs that I knew. And it was easier because then it's just crafting the lyric over a melody line that exists. But the first melody line and song that I wrote was in probably 3rd or 4th grade. And then from there, I didn't play any instruments, so there wasn't really anything accompanying it, but I could actually sing it through. And mm-hmm. some of them I probably still vaguely remember the tune to, probably not the lyrics, but uh-huh. I mean, like I could hear distinct melodies in my head. And so that's sort of where that started.
Okay. You mentioned the 2 CDs you have, Sketch and what's the other?
Drifting to
Bella.
Yep.
If you compare the two, are there differences, or have there been an evolution between the one and the first one and the second one?
I would say the main difference between the two, from a mood standpoint, Sketch was more of a darker, slightly bitter, slightly trying to, rediscover my life and figure out who I am kind of album, whereas Drifting to Bella started a little bit in that same vein. The first song, like Drifting, for example, is very much an introspective song. And that was the first song I think we laid down for mm-hmm. Drifting to Bella. And, then during that course, because life took over, I met my wife, and, we met 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. We've been married for 3. We just celebrated our 3rd wedding anniversary. But, obviously life shifted, and it shifted to a positive center. And I was much more inspired in a positive way. So I think a lot of the songs on that album, for example, took on very much, the tones of my life at that time. I feel like that album itself is, from beginning to end, mm-hmm. more of the evolution of, at least personally, where I was, where my personal center of songwriting was. Sketch was, a lot of it was stuff that I had been writing since about 2006. You know, a song like Spooky Truth is even older than that, and Chess, they're both like from 2001. So it was just like me taking things that I'd been playing out forever and finally putting them onto an album with some new stuff that was the period that I was going through. You know, like Coming Through and Just Waking Up were more from that era. But, you know, that's, I say, the two main differences between. And I don't know about evolution of a songwriter, because, I mean, I certainly feel like I learn new things every time I write a song about songwriting, or just about musicianship, or about who I am, or about, you know, the idea of creating. But sometimes it's really an act of making something be a song, which is a craft. And then I think there's just the expression, which is an art. And I think like really great songs are a combination between the two, because you can't just like, I don't know, go blah out there. You know, nobody necessarily wants to hear just your expression. They want it in a digestible form. Yeah. And at the same time, if it's just craft for the sake of craft, there's no soul to it. So somewhere in between, I find, is where the best stuff comes from. And maybe that's the evolution, really, is that when you have the time, or you find that beautiful window into that place, like when you can create that, that's always, I guess, more evolutionary for me than anything on a timeline, if that makes sense.
Okay. It's time for our, we have a showcase of another artist via video. Okay. And the showcase today is Danielle Moralia, who's from Boston area. You familiar with Danielle?
I'm not.
This particular video, she was produced and put together by a guy named Steve Ide. Okay. And he runs this coffee house, which is called, let me make sure I get it right, the Rose Tree Coffee House. And, and it's right outside of Boston. Okay. So it's a really good video, and I actually talked to him yesterday, and so he gave me permission to use this video as well as other ones that he has, so I can use them later.
That's great.
So we're going to take a look at Danielle Moralia. This particular song is called Pick Up a Gun.
When Dylan sang his words into the wind, it rumbled like a universal hymn. Changing the world was the latest thing. All the kids jumped and screamed for the one they admired. But no one was listening. No one was listening. No one was listening but the choir. Now the silver spoons and the charmed ones, the talking heads and the armed ones, say they know it should be done for the harmed ones. And they push it on down through the wire. But no one is listening. No one is listening. No one is listening but the choir. People shouting all around, a preacher for every town. I hope that choir comes around. Well, Jesus said to love one another and some other good stuff like that. But that don't serve to make any pockets fat, so they focus on that old lake of fire. 'Cause no one was listening. No one was listening. No one was listening but the choir.
That was Danielle Moralia, and hopefully sometime she'll be able to come down here if she wants to, and we'll have her on the show. So we're back, and just a performing question.
Okay.
I understand in Chicago, as far as voting day, they used to say vote early and vote often. So I want to segue into performing, and it's always been my feeling that you have to, number one, you have to catch people right away. You have to hook them in probably in the first 30 seconds, and then you have to keep their interest in what you're doing. So I don't know if you've ever actually thought about that. I bet you do it normally. But what? How do you do it, do you think?
I definitely agree. I definitely think you need a strong opener. And that would always be something when it came time to picking a set list. I would just make sure it was one that would work as, a good high energy opener, but also one that I'm feeling the high energy on, because a stale version of a high energy song is not necessarily, that ear catcher that you're discussing. But I think it also depends on the venue.
Right.
When I've been in spaces that are really small and intimate, sometimes just doing something that's more mellow, but bringing them in with a story, or bringing them in with some kind of soulful expression,
right.
Some kind of emotion, can be just as effective. I think it definitely vacillates throughout the night, because an audience is there to enjoy music, even in a listening room, but they're also there to be with whoever they came with, and they're also there to feel like they're relaxing. And sometimes when somebody gets relaxed, they can even become a little more noisy, or get a little raucous, and I think you feel out the room. I don't know, like I said, I played in a band in college, and that was one thing that we, I guess, made sure that we kept up, because that was our spending money for the week.
Yeah.
And it was mostly cover tunes, but we would always pack the house, and we wanted to keep people dancing and having fun and drinking, and so that, hey, we made money and they wanted us back. And so I think like that was probably a good place for conditioning on that particular exercise with an audience. Play what the mood is.
Right. In terms of your music, if you look forward, what do you hope to do from this point on to do with it? To do with your music, to do with your performing?
Well, I think that I will always be a songwriter. I would say out of all of the musical aspects of my life, songwriting is the thing that I've always, I guess, needed. And really, if I were going to describe myself as anything, I would describe myself as a songwriter first, then a musician and singer, So I think I'd always continue to songwrite. I would love to write songs for people if people were looking for material. I probably come up with a new riff and melody line just about every day. And, the hardest part is, especially with a young kid and having a day job, is making sure that I don't lose it. So, having the cell phone to record it and come back to it has been very helpful for a songwriting process. But I used to, write a song and finish it as often as I could in the first couple of sittings. And now I have ones that just float for years, and then I grab them back and then they turn into something. And I think I'll always do that. But I don't know. I the album I'm working on now, for example, in my brain, I'm not thinking as much, hey, got to make it performable. Like, I'm actually thinking to myself, you know what? Even if it's never listened to, it's a document, and I want to create something. I mean, there is an artistic person in me that wants to express, and like I said, you can't just express like bleh. You still have to make it digestible. But I have artistic expressions that I want to create, and I don't want to compromise them so far to the practicality end that I dilute them.
Gotcha.
So that's where I think I am. I think right now I just want to create my art, and then hopefully continue to play, because I love being in front of an audience. But I like I said, I envy and I admire the people who can really make a living out of music, because it is hard to do.
Very hard. Yeah. We're going to hear some songs, and while you get your guitar out, we're going to see a video of the our next guest for the next show, and it's a group fronted by two sisters, and they're called the Hello Strangers. And they are excellent. I just want to read some of the places where they have played. They played a place called Music City Roots, which is where we're going to actually see this particular video. The Bluebird Cafe, Philadelphia Folk Festival, and the Birchmere, and many other places. The song they're going to do is called Poor Dear. So we're going to watch this video of the Hello Strangers. They'll be here next time. And then we're going to hear some songs by you, John.
Great.
Okay.
My poor, poor dear. My poor, poor dear. You had to know I was going to go. I'm back and I'm bound for that old dirt road. My poor, poor dear. My poor, poor dear. Don't try and stop me. Don't say you're sorry. Just open that door 'cause my hands are full. My poor, poor dear. My poor, poor, poor dear. You laid hands on me. Why is it so hard to see? By the time you light up that cigarette, I'll be gone in Tennessee. I see that old house getting smaller. You'll see no tear marks on my dusty face. You said it would come with the cost, but like a sprout after the frost. Well, I found something that I I see that old house getting smaller. You see no tear marks down my dusty face. You said it would come with a cost, but like a sprout after the frost. Well, I found something that I love. My poor, poor dear. My poor, poor dear. You had to know I was going to go. My bags are packed and I'm bound for that old dirt road. My bags are packed and I'm bound for that old dirt road. Thank you guys so much.
Because it's Saturday morning, a little bit of rain outside, just the kind of perfect mellow vibe for today. So this is a tune called Moving Day. Such a great day, the flowers in my cave, and all signs of life exiting this place. I miss you, oh I do. My every being craving you. Don't let that fire burn out the light. On the edge of a light, poised to ignite. I want you, oh I do. home I ever wanna know is you for all of time to come. Yeah, you're the one. Sobbing through the loose string remains of me, becoming half of we. Two is one. Just begun our life together. Every day amazing pleasures to be found. Forever bound. Such a great day, no change in my case, no signs of you here in this place. I miss you, oh I do. My every being craving you. I need you, oh I do. My every being craving you. There's a tune called All of the Above. Today could be the first of many more. Depends on if I'm happy with before now. If some continuum exists, I'm sure it must be along the lines of your sweet life. You could be the universe for all I know. All it tends to matter, all the focus on, all the energy that burns within my love. Yes, you could be the all of the above. When the night is through, we'll be fine in the draping warm escape of love bound. Bellamy, thrill me with your kiss until the day steals me away to some business. 'Cause you could be the universe for all I know. All it tends to matter, all the focus on, all the energy that burns within my love. Yes, you could be the all of the above. So, again, being a Saturday afternoon, a little bit of rain out there, and of course, being a couple of days after found out that one of the people I used to watch all the time on MTV as a kid, just passed away. Thought maybe I would do a little tribute tune. Never meant to cause you any sorrow. Never meant to cause you any pain. Only want to see you laughing one time. Only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only wanna see you laughing in the purple rain. I never want to be your weekend lover. Only want to be some kind of friend. Good friend. Oh baby, I could never steal you from another. Such a shame our friendship had to end. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only wanna see you, baby, in the purple rain. Honey, I know times are changing. Oh, it's time we all reached out for something new. That means you too. You say you want a leader, but you can't make up your mind. Oh, I think it's time you better close it. Let me show you to the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, oh purple rain. Only wanna see you, baby, in the purple rain. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah. I guess I'll do one more here. It's a tune off the first album. It's a tune called Chess.
What a game of chess we play. What a mess of things I'm saying. Darling, I just want you for my queen. Yes, but you always got my peace in check. What the heck we're doing, babe? Can't we just find something in between? Oh, if you're looking for a love song, I'm afraid you tapped the wrong arm. The color of my heart is faded blue, but we could sail among the stars and then go cruise the boulevard, and I would love you, darling, if you let me through. You wish you could believe your eyes, but worry once this thrill is dead. Lost a novelty, what will you see? But I'll tell you now, that day will never come. 'Cause girl, I ain't like anyone you've ever known before, or ever will again, I'm sure. So be my muse, I promise not to use you up or spit you out. Be my muse and all my soul for you. Gonna be my muse and baby, I'll be yours too. Yeah, baby, I could love you, darling, if you let me through. Oh, I could love you, darling, if you let me through. Oh, yes, I said my piece now, darling, it's your move. Yeah. Thank you.
That makes the world go round and round. Picks you back up when you are down. You know it's true, you feel the power. That makes the world go round and round. I know you've had a bad day or two. Nothing goes right, it's the same old view. Hold on a minute, and soon you will see. It's not too late for you and me. Love makes the world go round and round. Picks you back up when you are down. You know it's true, you feel the power. Love makes the world go round and round.
John, if people want to find out where your CDs can be gotten, to learn more about you and your music, your band, what's the best way that they could do that?
They could go to www.johngalla.com. Currently, I'm rebuilding the site, so it's forwarding to my Reverb Nation page. But learn
Right.
the johngalla.com site, because it will be back up. And from there are links to places like CD Baby, or there's John Galla at Bandcamp, or .bandcamp. And then there, of course, is the iTunes Store and Amazon and all the places online. So JOHNGALLA.
And the name of your two CDs you have right now?
Sketch is the first CD, and then Drifting to Bella.
Are you working on a third?
Working on a third right now.
I thought I remember reading that.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Ray.
Coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks with the Hello Strangers. See you then.